trailblazer. I'm certainly unique. Um, yeah, I think I'm very individualistic in the way that I present the work. Um, I will serve a church or a spirit sense, and then obviously I'm very aware of their conventionalities and how they want the work presented or how they want the service presented.
Hello, everyone. I am Claudiu Murgan, the host of the Spiritual Inspired podcast, and welcome back to a new episode. Quick reminder that you can find us on spiritualinspired.ca and Gnostic TV, and also old episodes on YouTube. My guest today is Becs Sawyer. Becs, thank you for joining me only from UK. How are you?
I'm doing great. This is such a joy. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
Yes, I mean, I can start by mentioning that you are Clairsentient, and we're gonna get into that during our discussion. But I would like to start by asking you, how did you discover your gifts, and how did you navigate with them through life? And did you come open about these gifts, please?
What a big question. The first thing I always say, I can be a maverick. I have my own crazy views about my mediumship, and I don't view it as a gift. I see it as a faculty of being spirit. We are all spirit, therefore we've all got that innate potential to be mediums. I'm not saying people want to present the work like I do, because this is the reason why I'm on the planet is my work. And what happened with me, my background is I always wanted, as a little child, I just wanted to talk to spirit, or I called it talking to dead people, but nothing ever happened. And even in my 20s, I sat in development circles. I got a little bit, but not really much. And it was very, very frustrating. I'd watch these famous mediums on TV, like in this country, we've got people like Colin Fry and Tony Stockwell. And that was all I wanted to do. But I was very frustrated in my own life. And it was only when I started to go through my own physical and emotional transitions, and I opened up me to the right teachers, the right tutors came along, and it opened up. And for me, when I teach, when I demonstrate, I always say to people that mediumship is easy. It's a natural phenomena. What makes it challenging is the medium. So the medium has to work as much on themselves as they do on the mediumship. I'm not talking necessarily about when you present your work, that you can teach, but your relationship with spirit is something that you evolve for yourself as you let yourself, if you like, more become one with your own spirit and soul in the life experience. And it opens up that way. And it's got a stage now where wherever I'm teaching or working, it's just you get in that flow. And it's just, for me, it's just now a natural expression of who I am.
And after so many years, do you still consider yourself a trailblazer in the spiritual community?
A trailblazer. I'm certainly unique. Yeah, I think I'm very individualistic in the way that I present the work. I will serve a church or a spirit sense, and then obviously I'm very aware of their conventionalities and how they want the work presented or how they want the service presented. But on my nights, be it a show or house party, whatever I'm doing, we have a lot of leeway to present it, still with great respect, still with great integrity, but I have a lot of fun with it because spirit can be a lot of fun. And whenever I'm working, I always say to people, the big part of this for the medium is the responsibility.
Yes.
Because when I'm working, and this is the first thing I ever teach before I teach anybody, I always say to people, any students, the first thing I say to them is, it doesn't matter if you're studying or working, if you're working with a spirit person, everything they are, their essence, their memories, their love, everything, their soul, their eternal being is in the palm of your hand, and they're trusting you. And what are you going to do with that? So every time, no matter how much fun I have doing my work, and no matter how much I'm alive for it, every reunion I facilitate, that spirit person is trusting me with their eternal soul, and it's my job to represent it the best way I can in that reunion and that healing.
And do you prefer to work here with groups or one-on-one? And how do you usually work in these type of situations? What's your process?
Well, okay. Most of my work is in a format of in front of people. That can be a show, it can be a church, it can be a charity night, it can be a house party. I don't get a chance to do a lot of one-to-one with mediumship. In fact, I don't get a chance to do any because I'm demonstrating 4 or 5 nights a week. And if I get a night off, if I'm honest, it's under the duvet, iPad, watch a film, so I don't get a lot of chance. But my process, do you mean the process about preparation for the work?
Yes, yes.
No. Okay. For me, it's always evolving, but I usually start as usually like it starts in the afternoon. You just start to get a feeling that things are changing, the energy's changing. And as I have a shower, and then as I start to get ready, I have a certain piece of music I like playing that just resonates with me. And I think because it's that familiarity, the brain starts to know. Because the most important part in any preparation, and the preparation for me is key. So on the way to a venue, I play music that just resonates with me. But before the actual event, there's about half an hour, 40 minutes, where I go through a process of there's three distinct parts to that process. One is quieting down the conscious mind, the body, and the emotions. That's the physical me. So you've got to be able to quieten down that conscious mind, that left side of the brain, because if you don't, when you're working, you start going, I think this, I think that. That means the brain's got in the way. Because you can watch mediumship and they start going, I think it's think that. Well, the brain can't do mediumship. The brain is physical. The brain can't be a medium. The brain is used when it's spirit to spirit because, I said we quieten that brain. Then I quieten my emotions because if I get my emotions out of the way, so I'm feeling not empty, but if I'm feeling like a blank canvas, then if I've got an emotion come through from spirit, I can say, well, this is not mine. This is how your dad felt. And then the same with the physical body. The physical body quietens down. And then that's the first stage. So that's me quieting down because when I'm working spirit to spirit, how I believe it works, there's the spirit of a loved one, there's my spirit. Well, my job is to make sure we can blend with no separateness. But that reunion has still got to come through the physical brain. So the more I can get out of that, more that can get out of the way, the more they can do their job, the more it flows through without restriction. But at times the brain will get in the way. And the second part is then I call it making that space of love and memories for spirit to use. You're creating an environment for them. So within the venue, I will set up an intention of just love from my heart space to the whole room, to the whole theatre, wherever I'm working. And then from there, I create a space of light because we're all beings of light. So I tap into my being of light. I say, here's the energy, here's spirit, here you go. Here's the space I'm creating that that you can bring your memories into. So it does twofold. It can let spirit use it, but also when I work, I want every single person to feel every reunion. I want every person coming on that journey of healing, of love. So that's what, and then finally, the third part, if you like, is then connecting with spirit, saying, "Here I am. Here's the connection. What are we doing?" And then once that's done, you've got that. And once you've done that preparation, and my preparation is in place, there comes my confidence. There comes my feeling that yeah, we've got this, and then off I go.
Yes, interesting. And most of the time when we talk about groups, each individual's coming to that venue brings his or her own energy. And sometimes they leave with something that they don't supposed to leave, like unwanted energies, entities. And you just mentioned about creating that space of love. So in this particular situation, what you do is enough to protect the participants from getting anything that they don't need?
I think when we talk about entities, we have to be careful. I think what can happen is, I think within a group environment, be it 10 people or 500 people, everyone comes with their own expectations. Everyone comes with their own grief, their own pain. And I think that alone, that emotion, I mean, I don't come back with entities, but I know I pick up on energy of people. And it could be they don't like me or they don't like me. And sometimes you take it on board they send it accidentally or they can send it intentionally. But for me, I think what people tend to go home with, I hope, is that they go home feeling part of something special, that the night was something special for them. Even if they didn't experience anything personally, they felt they felt the reunion of someone else. I love it when people say to me, Bex, I didn't get anything tonight, but I felt every single one you did.
Mhm.
And then that's when the work, and that's when you know you're reaching everybody. Coming back to what you was asking, when I come home, I do my own little closing ceremony because I know spirit take away work with me when they help release a lot of the pain, so I don't take it personally. But there are always things that I do bring back. So at the end of the night, I do my own little ceremony just to release anything I've brought back with me, and then I relax.
Nice. And something you mentioned that sometimes you have these gatherings in churches, and I know that what you are doing doesn't go well all the time with the mindset of the institution, which is the church. How do they allow you? How do they see your work?
Well, what I do is, I'm known a little bit. So if someone says, "Will you come and do a special at my church to raise funds for the church?" I'm giving a little bit of leeway because it'll probably be a Saturday night. If I'm taking a divine service on a Sunday, then I'm much more reverent because I did one recently, about 2 hours, me, and it's a service. So it's not them that change. I change. I
Mhm.
change what because it's like you're respectful wherever I'm working. You've got to be respectful of that environment. And sometimes if I'm working, the other night I did a workingmen's club. Well, that's a very different energy to a church on a Sunday night. In fact, the workingmen's club I did the other night, there was a fight because alcohol was involved. And, obviously, you can't serve you can't work at a hotel, you can't work at a theatre or a workingmen's club, and you can't say you can't drink. Obviously there's never any alcohol in a church, so alcohol brings its own energy, and
Yes.
alcohol and grief. When you put grief, pain, and alcohol together, you've got a potential volcano erupting, and that's what happened the other night. Two groups of women got upset. One threw chips, and one. You can't make it up. I mean, that's very rare. But again, I believe when I'm working, if people get angry, grief is very personal, and that pain, the way that pain is expressed, is also very personal. I have to allow for that because, I'm meet if I meet someone's dad, I'm getting to know that dad in spirit for the first time. I'm getting to know his memories. I'm getting to know who he was and who he is. Well, I don't have that pain that daughter might have, and ultimately my work is healing. I mean, a lot of my work isn't just I've got your dad, he loves you. Well, what do they want to share? An example might be someone took care of their dad for 5 years. Let's say they took care of their dad for 5 years, day and night, while they're here and ill. They've gone to the toilet, they've come back, the dad has passed, and they felt guilty for like 20 years. And the dad comes here and goes, well, don't be silly.
Yeah.
You were doing the school. It happened the other night. I had someone come reunite with her granddaughter, and the nan and granddaughter loved each other so much. And I've done the reunion, and my almost throwaway comment was, your nan saying, "Don't worry about being there. You're on the school run." Well, it turned out she's waited 26 years to hear that from her nan to release that guilt because she was doing the school run when her nan died. The nan doesn't worry. It's just the memory for nan, but that granddaughter carried that every day for 26 years.
Yes, and it's happening right now with my mom who feels guilty and thinks that no matter how much she took care of my father on his last days, he still was upset with something. And
Yeah,
again, no matter what I tell her that he's
yeah,
in a better place, that she did everything she could and he's not upset with her,
yeah.
she won't let go.
So, because I think also what happens in that, it's not only that she won't let go because she feels I didn't do enough, but that's also her last physical experience with him.
Yes.
And what spirit want us to do a lot is to say, well, look, we're not there. Hold on to that memory, but you're putting way too much emphasis on it because that we're not there. We're here now. We're here with you in the present. So your mum's going over the whole thing of not feeling good enough. Did I do enough? Is he angry? Is he? And it takes spirit to go. And it's usually when that mediumship they go. Of course I don't mind, and they usually validate it by saying I don't know, you took my ring off as I passed, or you were holding my hand, whatever it might be. And you can then see the energy change in these people as they're releasing this stuff, because it's pain that doesn't serve them. It's
Yes.
grief. We'll always have pain and grief when we lose someone we love. We're always going to have that. Someone said, I think was it Shakespeare said, grief is the price of love. I think it was Shakespeare. I think it was Shakespeare. And you can't change that. But when people know this is what, and they get that release, it changes how they grieve.
Yes, it's like they don't want to have or live beyond that moment, and they just are stuck in time, and they uh,
Yeah.
grab onto that last moment, as you said, and won't let go.
Yeah, and I call it Groundhog Day. I don't know if you've seen the film Groundhog Day,
Yeah.
where the guy and it's the same principle, because when we've lost someone, and as you said, it's that last day, that last week, they're holding on to that because that's their last physical connection. So, and what spirit will do sometimes, they'll say, okay, and it happened to me the other night. A mum turned that last reunion into something beautiful. She shared with her that she knew her daughter was hot, even though she was asleep for 4 days. She said, I know you held my hand, describe what she was doing and the last kiss, the last words. So she transmuted that into something beautiful experience. But often what spirit will do is that they'll say, I don't want you stuck here. They'll say about how they want to move forward, but they're still stuck in the past. And then what a loved one will do is show me a memory, a happier memory. And I say, right, do you remember when this happened? They go, oh yes. And in that moment, it's almost like spirit helping reprogram their memory. And they go, oh yeah, that's much. Remember that one. So that's again, whenever I work, I always say spirit are the ultimate intelligence. The spirit know their job. The job of the mean is to get out of the way so the spirit can do their job. They know their job. And the job of the mean is not to have an ego. The job of the mean, I love my work. I have so much fun with it. I take it so seriously. But for me, I try and, or I don't think I have an ego with it, because as soon as as soon as the medium makes it back the medium's got in the way.
Yes. Yeah.
And the
You're
more
right.
we can let that flow just happen, the more natural the mediumship is. It just flows.
Yes. And because we know, we those who are in the spiritual community, we know that we live forever. Our soul doesn't die, just moves into a different realm, different level. And I'm going to ask you kind of a heretical question, because in all the religions, we bury our loved ones, and then we go back to the cemetery, and we talk to them, and we put flowers there, and we do all kind of events when on certain days of the year. Is that something which is still meaningful for the soul who left, or is just a release of our pain and a show of love from our end? I'm curious, because I don't know how to treat that aspect in my own culture sometimes.
But for me, the soul, when we cross over, the soul, the spirit sees this world for what it is. This body is an amazing gift for a life experience, but it's no more than a car that you drive for a certain amount of time. So we put an attachment to that car. When we cross over, we see that attachment, that car for it was a beautiful gift. And we still have, and our soul aspect has still the connections with our loved ones who are still here in their own cars. So do spirit worry whether we go to the cemetery, I don't think they do. I think what's important, because they're aware, they know that love connection, that eternal. If you've got a soulmate, let's say, you're blessed to have a soulmate, and the soulmate's on the other side, and the soulmate's still here, they're connected continually, eternally. It's just that the person left behind in their car, their body, is still trapped by the conscious mind, that chattering mind. So the remembering the birthday with flowers, yes, it brings them a little bit closer, but that's what I think it does. It just means that the person who's left behind is taking their awareness even more to that person in spirit. Because I think in spirit, people say to me, well, do they remember their birthdays? Well, in spirit, there's no day or night. There's no time.
Yes.
There is, because if we look at how we gauge time on this planet, if I said to you, how old are you? And you go to me, I'm 35, that means that body, that car of yours has simply gone around the sun 35 times.
Yes.
We are millions of years old. We're spirit. We're stardust. So, but again, I get it because, the people that are left behind are often very fixated on oh my God, they've gone and they've been gone for 6 weeks, 2 days. And I get that because that's where the pain is. So if they go, I've lost count of the times, I've got a spirit person. And I said to someone, it was a dad, like the last one, I was working with, a woman who's there with her dad. Her sister passed, which in other words, this man's daughter. And my mouth came. He said, look, he said to it, she said, Dad, you can go there every day. I'm not there. I have to get in that car with you every day. And he went, what? I said, I can't myself. I said, every day you go there. Well, that's okay, but I'm not there. I'm with you. And his face just dropped. And I said, so I can't remember what I said to validate it. So I think it might be something about the car. And he went, oh, yeah. Well, yeah, she's with you. So if we want to go to the cemetery every day, they're not going to judge us. If you don't want to remember their birthdays, but you remember how much you ate, but the love is there. Remember, for me, it's the love that is eternal.
Yes. Yeah. So
Love
it's
is the
that,
power.
yeah. Yeah. Is that idea of being judged if we don't remember them, especially on certain days to commemorate their passing? That's such a, I don't know, powerful thing and punishing idea in, at least in my culture, that if you miss that day, oh my God, you know?
It's very
Mm.
self-punishing, isn't it? It's very like,
Yes.
I'm not good enough. I
Yeah.
forgot. Oh my God, you don't love. Well, when we cross over and we've released this, everything that comes with this car, all we are, we take our memories and we are that eternal love. And I can't believe that love of, if I've got such a close friend, and we've got this incredible soul connection. I cannot believe she would ever judge me if I forgot her birthday. This side of life, then on the other side of life, my memory's bad. I can't believe it, because to me, love is such the force, and I think it's human nature, human conditioning, the human brain that goes, "Well, you forgot. You're in." I go, "What? Really? Really? You think someone who loves someone that much they're going to worry if you forgot their birthday, or you didn't put quite the right flowers down on their grave where they're not there anyway?" I can't see it. That's only me. I mean, I respect people who go, yes, those that enjoy. If you enjoy and you get so much comfort out of remembering your loved one's birthday and you want to do a ceremony and honoring them, fabulous. But it should come without any pressure, without any expectations. It should be done out of one word, out of love.
Yes, exactly. To me, it's just a whole big industry that has to be sustained by these customs, and I hope people won't get back to me on that. But this is how I see it, because I understand spirit at a certain level, and
Yeah.
based on that, I make my own, approach in life.
Yeah, for me, we come into this life with love. We are love. We are love incarnate. We are all divine beings from source. We're coming to have a beautiful, and so, life can be awful. Life can be a challenge. And when we cross over, when we return, we take that same love we came with and the extra love we've shared on this experience, and we take our memories. And once we cross over, we go, okay, you can't take anything else with you. You can't take the conscious mind with you, because the brain conscious mind is of the physical experience. The brain can't go with you. The brain, I have a little theory. I think the brain doesn't like it that it's not immortal. And the brain plays games because it wants to think it's immortal. I've got this really very close friend of mine, and I draw it, and we're talking about being in alignment. Well, we haven't really discussed too deep, but we're in slightly disagreement about what alignment is. Because for me, being in alignment, Mahatma Gandhi once said, happiness, alignment, happiness, same sort of word, same sort of meaning. Happiness is when what you say, what you do, what you think, and what you feel are in harmony, not necessarily alignment. Well, for me, if everything is in alignment, but the way you're thinking, that says more about the conscious mind and its programming than it does about your heart, soul, and emotions. Because the heart, if we take our intuition, for me, the heart intuition is the gateway to our soul. So our intuition, our emotions, our feelings, our sensations, that we are more trustworthy than what the conscious mind is trying to rationalize. We can rationalize things that need rationalizing. It's like driving a car. The car's great for driving down the road, but it's not great for laying on the beach.
Yes.
And that for me is what happens. And I'm still in the midst of this discussion with this friend of mine, and and she's adorable, and I love her. I love her so much. But yeah, we talk about being in alignment. I go, yeah, but you're saying that now, but you're now something's changed. So maybe you're not. You wasn't quite as much aligned as you thought you were. But again, there's no right or wrong answers. Everyone's on their own individual path.
Yes, I always say that that's your own truth and this is my truth. And if
Exactly.
you bring me any evidence to the contrary, if I'm smart enough, I am flexible to change my point of view.
Yeah. It's like with my work. When people say to me, see, I am a bit of a maverick, especially if you go to churches or mediumship, it's evidence of survival. No, it's not. Because it's not evidence. For me, it's a personal validation. Because as you said, everyone's on a personal journey. If I've got someone's mum who wants to work with her daughter, she knows exactly what that daughter needs to hear to know it's her. And once that daughter's received that evidential profile, knowing it's her mum, the mum can then just get on with her job. All this stuff about evidence. Well, evidence is great, but it's different things for different people. You can say their name and their address, and I've seen amazing mediumship where I've seen the most evidence come out, and they've the name, the address, where they worked, they did this, they did that. You've got 4 children, all this facts coming out, and the medium then goes, "I leave their love with you." Well, hold on, what did that loved one want to say and share with their one who's here? It's a reunion. So once you've got that, you can't just go, "I've got your mum, she loves you," a bunch of flowers. You've got to have that evidential profile. But once, without doubt, you know where you are and you know it's that relationship. And the medium. I'm blessed. I work 4 or 5 nights a week. Last week I did 7 straight nights. So my relationship with spirit is slightly different to someone who might just do once every 3 months. It's just different. And for me, once I flow, I don't tend to go direct. I can do, but I tend to share. I want to bring everyone in. And again, I'll give you an example, if I may, about spirit knowing their job. Sometimes, this one particular night, I was working doing a show, and I had this nan with her granddaughter, and everything I'm saying was the most generic, common, normal stuff a nan would say about a granddaughter. I'm saying it, in my head, I'm going, "What the this is," I was going, "This is so much rubbish." It wasn't rubbish, but it could be anyone's nan. And then again, the nan knew her job. I went, "Oh, you used to go around your nan's every night after school?" And she went, "Yes, I did," which is not uncommon. But with that, I said, "As you open the fridge every night, there was a custard cake waiting for you in the fridge every night." She went, "Yes." Boom.
Mhm.
That's the one thing. So what that then does beautifully, everything else the nan was sharing is part of that reunion. So all that generic stuff came together, and then she opened up into some more. And again, I keep saying that's spirit knowing their job.
Yes,
Yeah,
as you said initially, take your mind away from what you
yeah,
are transmitting, and then
yeah,
things will fall in place and will make sense in the end. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And this, so I'm not clairvoyant. I don't see spirit. This clairsentience is a way of just going, well. And for me, we said about those 3 parts, and that's what I do. That first part, setting up that space for that linking with the actual spirit, that light, if you like, whatever you want to go say, "Okay, Holy Spirit, you're there. Who are you? I've got your mum. And what do you want to share?" And then I say, "Right, okay, I've met you. Now come to that place of love. What are your emotions like? What do you want to share?" And let them do it. And
Yes.
within that, they then know what they want from that reunion, be it a healing. I mean, I work a lot with suicides. I've got a little book coming. I'm not trying to plug it, but I've got a little book coming about suicide and some people sharing their stories when I've worked with them. And they come through. They're not judged on the other side. It's just they got out of their car
Mhm.
or think or and for me when I'm working with, again, it's not always love and light. It can be a mum that was horrible, and you can I get ancestral healing happening. The other night I had a nan reunite with her granddaughter. This nan was awful. She was like Cruella de Vil from the down. She was awful lady, and she owned that from the start. And I went to the granddaughter put her hand up. She said, I hardly know. We didn't like each other." I said, "I know." I said, but this isn't about you and your nan because this is your mum's mum. And she went, yes. I said, this is about the relationship between your nan and your own mum because your nan basically was horrible, cruel, unkind to your mum. And she went, yes. I said, well, that's why your mum is the way she is with you. And this is why the relationship, you have this relationship problem with your own mum. So what this nan was doing was helping that ancestral line. She was helping heal mother and daughter, and not do with grandmother. And again, that's what spirit can do.
And when you do this type of healing and revelation, do they mention what type of lessons those still alive have to learn from that type of interaction?
I think what they I think for me, there's always one lesson that I think goes to almost every reunion. Is that that life is short. We have this gift, and and it is about following your path, and it is and I don't want to get all like oh, don't worry about this, don't worry about that. Of course, we have worries, but their reunion is always about love and life is eternal. And it's not a case of, oh, we'll be together again, because they go, no, we are going to be together again, but we're still together. We're still round. I am still here. It's just that your brain gets in the way.
Yeah.
So for me, that's the one within all the reasons. There's always that sharing, I'm very wary when mediums start going. Your mum is saying you must do this, you must do that. I don't think they do. Because ultimately we have our own responsibility for our life, for our path. They will support us.
Yes.
They might joke about, I get them joking and say, "What have you done this time?" Oh, like, oh, yeah, it took you a long time to get rid of that bloke, didn't it? But I think from spirit is all about unconditional love and support and healing. And I saw many months. I almost walked out because they were saying your dad is really unhappy with you. No, they're not. They're not. They're really. Their memory might be, oh, I was, but no, they will reunite only in one thing, love, because they're in a place of only one place, love. They can come to that place. So they're in spirit. They come to that place of memories, and they'll share their memories, but they're not going to start telling their children they're all. And I think it's wrong because it's you can hear me getting really emotional because it does play with me because even if the relationship was right. Here's an example, an extreme example. I had two middle-aged women in the audience. They were two sisters, and a dad reunited. Now, I don't know if I can swear or not, but you can always cut the word out. He was a bastard. He used to beat their mum up in front of them. Then he'd lock those two women when they were children in a cupboard. He didn't come back to go, girls, I've always loved you. I want to make it up with you. He came back specifically to help them release the anger and the pain they still carry. And between the two of them, remember, once you set an intention, that healing starts. They haven't got to speak about it. Once that intention starts, the healing happens. It starts to happen. One of the women, you could see the energy just go. The other woman, her arms got really tighter. And I could feel her go like this. And I said, you're not feeling this, are you? And she went, I want to hate him to the day I die. Now, what that dad wasn't trying to be a dad. He was trying to let her go, I've had enough of hating someone. Because the hate doesn't serve anyone except the person you're hating, because you're giving them power.
Yeah.
But if you can help someone go, yeah, and someone go just, and it's not asking, and say, I'm not asking you to forgive him. He's asking you so again, he came from even though he was a horrible, horrible, horrible man, he came from spirit, from a place of love.
Yes.
It's his memories that were awful.
Indeed. Yeah.
And that's yeah.
And I was told that when my mom will pass, she will be on the other side to give me support on my journey and on my mission till the end of my days. So
Yeah. And that's it. Because when your mum's time comes, the same way she supports you, I'm sure, during your physical experience, she'll do the same from the other side. And I love it. I get these stories from my experiences. I think it was a granddad recently connected with his young granddaughter, and she's going into healing. And I said, I know you heal with colours. And she went, yeah, I do. I said, well, that's not uncommon, but your granddad's saying, I love how she works in the healing lights of the colours that she's learning about. So in that moment, she went, my granddad's watching. I said, yeah, well, your granddad is loving your healing work you're doing. And she went, is he my guide? I went, no, no, I don't believe our parents are our guides. In fact, again, being a maverick, I think a lot of our guides are us in a different manifestation.
Mhm.
Because who knows us best of all? We do. So if we leave part of us still in spirit, well, maybe that's us guiding us. I don't. It's like I have these weird ideas. So I can go down rabbit holes looking at questions all day long.
Hmm. Bex, you mentioned spirit so many times. So how do you perceive it? You said you feel it, but do you feel many entities surrounding you and working with you? Only one? How do you perceive it?
Oh, that's a really good question. As far as like day-to-day life goes, I don't feel anything. Very, very rarely do I feel anything. I've got a friend of mine that she can. It sounds really weird, but I get a thought and I know, say, okay, she's there because that we've got that soul connection. But on my day-to-day life, I could walk through a crowded supermarket and go like nothing because I'm not in that zone. For me, mediumship is about getting in a slightly altered state of consciousness.
Mhm.
So I have to get in that slight state of consciousness when I get there. And how I work when I'm working, it's a knowing. I don't go, oh, there's five line of. I just know. Oh, hello, who's next? Oh, I've got a mum. How do I know? I'm out of the way. I just know. It's a bit like if I asked you what colour's your car, you go blue, red, green, whatever. My color, my car's silver. I don't think about it. I know it's silver. So I don't see things. But if someone said to me, do you have brothers and sisters? I'll go, yeah, I've got a brother and sister. I haven't thought, have I got a brother? So I just know I've got a brother and sister. And for me, the reason why it's that quick is because energy, consciousness is that quick. Energy and consciousness are instant. So so my spirit is instant consciousness and love. The part of me that's not is this. So in the moment I've met someone's mum, it's all there in that instant. That whole beautiful blending is there. So it's then coming through this part of me and so it's presenting the work. That's why a lot of my work, not some of my work now, and it's evolved this year into this. If I'm working with an audience and I've got someone's mum, let's say, and I'm working with them, and I'm standing, let's say they're 4 rows back, whatever. We're feeling that love. I go, feel her love. And what's really happening, yes, that love is reaching her. You feel it, but also what's happening is there's a dialogue going on between the mum and the daughter that the daughter may not be aware of, but the mum is.
Mm.
So the daughter is feeling as this beautiful love and going, my God, I can feel my mum. Or someone said, my stomach's doing knots. Yeah, it's your mum. It's the love. But if I then start saying, I don't then go into the depth of it, saying you're having this dialogue with your mum on this spirit level, on this energy level, this consciousness level. But I don't need to because the mum is doing her job.
Yes.
And I create that energy, that space for them both to sit in and use.
Yes, it's
It's
beautiful.
fascinating, isn't it? It's
Yes, yes.
fascinating. It's
Very,
amazing.
very interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm
Physically,
going through a phase right now where I do not what you are doing, a little bit different. I'm still through my learning process and I'm testing these new capabilities. And it is fascinating because what I do, I don't ask for details. And then when I go back and say, okay, this and this happened, and say, oh, yes, I forgot to mention to you that
there you go.
indeed. Yeah. So,
Often the best validations are the ones where they go, no, 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 really? Well, I'll check it. And they go the next day on Facebook, you get them saying, oh my God, that was so right. I'll give you a quick example that happened to me the other night. I was working with this lady. No, I got this man joined me. I went, oh, Dave. Dave's important, but it's not his name, but Dave's important. Passes really quickly about his best friend. And the woman put her hand up. She said, well, my husband's name is Dave. His best friend passed suddenly. I went, oh, well, I'm with you. And I knew. And this lady said to me, she said, this man always comes through. I went, okay. So I take it your husband doesn't listen to the message. And she went, no, he thinks it's all rubbish. There's never been quite enough there for him. So I went, okay. I said, well, two things are going to happen. I said, one, the reason why he keeps coming through is because on a higher level, you are giving him permission to do that. As much as you think you want to hear from your mum, your nan, whoever, you know there's work to be done for Dave, your husband, and this guy, Michael. I think she told me his name, Michael in spirit. So with that, I say, okay, Michael, what do we need to do? So I started describing the brother, the best friend, what happened, and some other things. And I remember saying, I said, tell him to remember the dead bird. The dead bird's really important. They found the dead bird, or he found the dead bird. I'm not sure. And the woman went, I haven't got a clue what you're talking about. I said, well, don't worry about it. Just pass the message on. Anyway, I got a message the next day. She went home, went through the stuff that I'd said to him. He's going, yes, yes, yes. Then she said, Beck said to mention the dead bird you both saw or you saw. And he started crying. And it turned out him and his best friend years ago were going on a fishing trip, and one of the mums was driving them to the fishing trip. And this bird just flew into the windscreen and died. And they both found it hysterically funny. And they're the only two people, apart from them, that knew the story. So for me, again, that comes back to spirit's intelligence. That this guy, Michael in spirit, knew exactly what he wanted to do to get to him. So I said to this woman, I said, if this is now enough, he won't bother. He's not bothering you, but you won't need to give him permission so much every time you see a medium to come through. Because she said, I'm not giving him permission. I said, no, you are. Energetically, spiritually, that's exactly what you're doing for your husband. You're gifting this to your husband. Every time you come to see a medium, spiritually, you are gifting you're sacrificing your reunions for your husband. I said it's beautiful. And whenever I want to come back to something you said about training, whenever I teach, I always say mediumship is a journey of personal exploration. Your mediumship will always be different to mine. Why? Because you've got a different life experience to me. Therefore, spirit will love working with you the way they work with you compared to the way they work. They love the way they work with me because, as I said, I'm working with spirit a lot. So I sit in the power a lot. Why? Because I'm working a lot. I meditate a little bit. I do a lot. I do a lot of sacred. I don't know if you, I do a lot of. I've done it. I do a lot of sacred plant medicines. So I've got a relationship with grandmother Aya, and other sacred plant medicines and hape and stuff. So that's affected me as well, and that's changed my mediumship because my relationship with sacredness is different to a medium that might just, And again, it's no disrespect that the medium that does a church once a week or twice a week is very different to someone like me who works 4 or 5 times a week in places that one of my teachers years ago, and I can mention a woman called Mavis Patilia, who is a matriarch. She bless her, she was a matriarch in the spiritual world. She said in the class once, because a few people have a little go at me because I work outside the churches, and this Mavis said to me, she said, "Listen, Bex works in places I wouldn't even walk into." Because not everyone's going to go to church. I did a working men's club once, and I swear to you, the carpet was sticky. I was doing a charity night, I was doing a fundraiser, and the manager of that place was it was a young guy, total skeptic. And I love a banter. It sounds really weird. I love a heckle because it can be quite. I love a heckler, and he was bless his heart. Although he was manager, he was a bit nervous. He was drinking, and then his mum came through. And his energy shifted. Well, his mum got to him because I was in that venue. He had never walked in a church, so that reunion, that healing happened because I was in that venue.
Yeah,
And
and I think the satisfaction is much bigger when you turn around the skeptic than someone who already believes in spirit and is willing to have this connection.
yeah, absolutely. I love it. I'm very blessed with my work. I get a lot of straight guys coming along with their partners going, well, we've heard about this, Bex. Let's see if they're any good. And they misgender me a little bit. Doesn't matter. But we play with it. I just say, I used to be like you. I know. And suddenly you've got them relaxing, and then suddenly they're open to it, and they'll get something happen. They go, Bex, you kept that real. That was my best mate. I had a best friend come through for something the other week. And he was swearing at him, saying, he's not calling you your best friend. He's not saying he loves you. He's taking the mickey out of you. And I said, he's finishing by really taking the mickey out. I said, why is he calling you turkey teeth? And he went, I've just had my teeth done in Turkey. He said, well, you look so effing stupid. He said, that's what he would have said. And that's it again. I think, but you couldn't deliver that in a church. I was doing a church once, and I had this nan reunite with her grandson. I swear to you, if she was in the street, every other word was a swear word, and she's trying to make me swear. I'm going, I'm not doing it, not doing it. And I said to this grandson, he's a middle-aged guy, I said, your nan is a wind-up. She wants me to swear. She went, oh, that's her. She'd have fun. If she could get you to swear in this church, she would. Well, of course I didn't. But again, within every reunion, every reunion is multi-layered, multifaceted. If you've got one little bit of something, it will lead somewhere else. Like the nan swears, like, yes, she does. She wants me to swear. Why? Well, you're in a church. Well, yeah, she would find that very funny.
Mhm.
And then it goes on, what else does she find funny? Because she'll share the next thing she finds funny.
Yes. Bex, you mentioned ayahuasca and sacred plant medicine a while ago, and I want to ask you, how did you first came across sacred plant medicine, why you did it, and how it went for you?
Oh, I hope you've got about 5 hours because I can talk for hours on it. Sacred medicines for me. I mean, what got me introduced to say what made me first hear about sacred medicines was the author Graham Hancock, and I am a great fan of his work. Yes, I love his work, and he spoke about ayahuasca a few times. I was really called to grandmother, and I thought. "Oh, I've got to do it. I just knew I had something about releasing me, my mediumship. I didn't know, but I knew I was called towards it. Well, at the time, you could only do it in South America or something like that. Well, again, spirit orchestrate things. The more you open to the synchronicities, the more they happen. And I was listening to a radio show. I still listen to a talk show in this country. And there was a young guy on there, a trans guy on there. His name was Fox. And he had a lovely interview. I just sent him a message saying, it's great to hear you. And we became friends. And one day I was talking about ayahuasca, and he went, I've done that in this country. Well, you shouldn't do it in this country. So I'm not going to, but from there led me to meeting people that led me to uh, meeting grandmother with Aya. I will say straight away, anything to do with sacred plant medicines, there's a number of things you've got to do. One, you have to have it in such high respect, sacredness. It's a sacred medicine. I get very frustrated when you hear people say, I'm going to take a few mushrooms. No, no, all plant medicines are sacred. And the journey is not for the faint-hearted. I'd never done any psychedelics in my life, and my very first journey with Madre was probably the second most frightening night in my life. The most frightening night in my life was when I had my first lot of facial surgery. I had about 12 hours of bone work. That's another. But with Madre, it was frightening. And I can talk about details if you want. But the second night was blissful. So my whole relationship with grandmother has been challenging. There's been blissful at times, but they call it the death vine for a reason. You have to go through a rebirth at some point on your journeys. And I've drunk a little bit. I've probably been with Madre 30, 40 times. So I've been with her a little bit. And I'm actually going to retreat next year to Guatemala, and I'm so excited. It's a different medicine, different people. It's the same ayahuasca, and I just know it's going to be a different my relationship's going to change with grandmother. I just know it is, and I am really excited about that. But my journeys in this, when I used to take it around here, should we say, was very challenging. But again, it's all for your higher. It's all for you. I mean, for example, I can remember I was never very good at crying. But one night I started to cry and I was sobbing for 3 hours. I hated it. It wouldn't stop, but it needed to come out. And then again, that whole thing about your mediumship, the more you clear you, the more work you do on you, the better you are as a medium because there's less of you in the way.
Yes.
And so for me, I absolutely adore her. But I am a petulant child. I'm so reverent, but I will F and blinder her. Like there's something going at the moment that's really unfair. I'm having to navigate with a friend of mine, and it is so frigging unfair. But she goes, "It's going to be okay." I went, well, it's not okay at the moment, is it? Because I was once told a long time ago when I first started getting with the medicine, once grandmother's in you, that's it.
Wow.
You are forever connected with Madre, forever. And no matter what other segments you do, you're connected. And I've done other medicine. I've done Buffo, which is the toad smoke. That's very different. That's like a rocket ship. That is definitely not for the faint-hearted. And recently, I've got into something called sassafras, and she's beautiful. Sassafras is beautiful medicine. And I'm, but again, all these medicines have to be treated with the utmost respect and love and reverence. Again, I said I am a bit of a petulant child. I just know in March, I just know she's going to kick my ass with love and light. I just know it's coming. I can hear, you can hear her laughing, but again, as long as you're doing it with the right intention, your place is love,
Yes.
and that's it again. That this is the love source again, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yes, so I've done ayahuasca and then Buffo and the sassafras, and I've done I haven't touched something called Cambo. That doesn't call me the toad that doesn't call me at all.
And what about Iboga?
Oh, you mean the African one, the root one?
Yes, between.
Uh,
Yeah.
that scares the bejeebus out of me. I had a friend of mine who went to Africa, and she had the most dreadful, challenging experience. That's one medicine doesn't call me. Does not call me. Um, it just doesn't. I'm not saying I never do it, but it doesn't. I'm very blessed to have this relationship with the Madre. And this friend of mine, we call it Marjorie, but that's just us. Um, and to have this open up again I'm going to Guatemala in March. That's the hope. Has opened up for a reason. So
Yes.
again, it's open for a reason. There's a reason for my next step is with ayahuasca is there as opposed to where I used to do it because the energy changed. So it's all still lovely where I used to do it, but something shifted. And I've gone through this journey. So, and it is, I think, once you open to the sacred medicines, they guide you.
Yes. So I'm lucky that means that Madre is in me as well, and it will stay with me. And
Does
I think the reason maybe you want to do it in Guatemala is because of the energy of the land, because I
oh,
did it where I live and you did it where you live. And I tried in a different setup in Central America, and it was quite brutal for me. And I can give you more details offline, but I think the energy of the land in Guatemala will be totally different, and you're gonna feel
oh,
much
I,
differently. Yeah.
I'm told she's much softer. It's the way they do it, where we're going to be, where the retreat's going to be. Um, I I trust this friend of mine with my soul, and the maestro saying it's meant to be beautiful, and it'll be deep and intense. But I think it's done. I just know from what I've been told and what I'm feeling. It's just done with so much love.
Yes, and I interviewed Tricia Isment, which was initiated in the Biwiti tradition, which is Iboga pretty much. And
Oh,
her book, Sitting Consciousness, just came out a couple of weeks ago. I finished the book, and it's just unbelievable. You really have to be cold and be strong-hearted and
oh,
minded to
in that
do,
boat,
yes, to do that
in that one.
initiation. Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean, everything in Africa, I think, is 2, 3 levels higher than South America in terms of toughness. And the way they play with energies, their shamans, their elders, they play with energies like it's unbelievable.
yeah, yeah. I've heard that. Yeah, yeah. But my friend that went out there, she had a very, very challenging time. Yeah,
Yes.
it really, it's almost like as far as I know, she's pulled away from anything like that. She's just taken her career on a completely different path. But yeah, it doesn't this lifetime, not this lifetime for me. No.
Bex, you mentioned about training, and I heard about you from our common friend Matt Fluger. He's
Ah,
a dear friend and spiritual brother, and I interviewed him several weeks ago. And you guys met at Arthur Findlay College
did.
in UK. So, I was puzzled when I heard that he's going back to school even for a week. And you're also there with so much experience. You went back to school. Why? What you tried to gain from that experience?
Okay, for me as a medium, and I have a lot of experience, sorry, we're only ever scratching the surface. And all I'm not betting. I just have a little bit more experience. And with the college, and I've been there. I've been there quite a while, and I've been there a lot. And I'm at a place now where I go for two or three particular tutors. But the energy of the college, and I'm blessed. I live 20 minutes from there. The energy of the place is amazing, and it's shift. There's been a shift in the energy of that building and the people in the building this year. I'm not getting involved in all the politics that's happened there, but there's been an energy shift. But my tutors that I went to see, I'll say the names. One was Jeanette Marshall, who is an amazing energy. She is such an energy worker. She's incredible. So she talks about energy within mediumship, and I've known her and studied with her under her forever. Well, it feels like forever. And the other one was my mentor. I won't say his name. He's not really into publicity. And he was there for his last week ever. So you go there, and what I love, the shift in the energy has been amazing because the first week I went, I met these people from Guatemala and America who are medicine people, and I've never met medicine people at the college, but they were there doing this energy week with Jan Marshall, and it was incredible connections. It was beautiful. Then later on in the year, I met I went again for a second time. And on the table where you eat were people into mushrooms, into other medicines. And for me, if you're new to studying mediumship or you're intermediate or even you're advanced, just being in that energy of that building and the grounds for a week is wonderful. Obviously, it's, if you're a beginner, if you're new to mediumship, then that's what a place to start. You get immersed in the whole history, the vibe. There's a little museum upstairs, and it's like, I swear, it's like going to Harry Potter. The building's like Harry Potter. You've got this great big landing, the big staircase, and the big hallway. The energy in the atmosphere is, I don't teach there. I'm not a tutor there because I don't fit their profile of what they want from a tutor. I didn't go down that road. I was trying to be a tutor. I do my own teaching, but I recommend the place all the time because there's some amazing tutors there.
Wonderful. So what are the programs and workshops people can take with you? If you can mention them, please.
Yeah, I mean, the problem I have, I don't really get a lot of chance to teach. I do the odd workshop here in the UK. I don't get a chance to. Next year, they've already said I'm going to start doing stuff online. Well, during lockdown, I was online six or 7 mornings a week doing meditations and 6, 7 days a week doing 6, 7 nights. But now I'm back out working. It's having time. And what I don't want to do is to try and run a course with someone and not give it the attention that it. If I have a pupil or a student, I am serving them.
Yeah.
I have a huge responsibility to help them find their maximum potential. And unless I can give them all my energy, it's not fair. And at the moment, all my energy is going into my demonstration. I'd much rather someone say to me, Bex, I'm really interested in doing your stuff. I'm in Canada. Do you want to come to Canada and do a show and do a weekend course? Yes. I'd much rather travel, do a demonstration somewhere and do a workshop or a couple of workshops at the same time than try and structure something like a long. I mean, that's only my path. There's some amazing tutors who tutor full time, but that's not what my calling is my mission. For me, when I'm in front of the public and my energy's there, and for me, the greatest joy is when someone's mum comes through and they're feeling it. And I go, your mum wants to give you a hug. And I go and hug that woman, and that mum's energy is using me to embrace her daughter, and the daughter feels it. That's why, that's why I'm on the planet. It's the reunions that I'm so blessed to be part of. That is my greatest joy.
Beautiful. Bex, if you have to give humanity a gift other than what you're offering right now, what would that gift be?
That's a really, really good question. And it's a very poignant timing. I went through the longest time of not listening to my heart when it came to love. And it was during a sassafras ceremony that I got asked, well, what does your heart want? Because I'd so programmed my thinking about relationships and what I want, I really didn't want that. And suddenly I got shown what I really wanted. And then the timing was I got shown that. I also got shown the pain behind that. So I think for me, what the lesson I'm getting in the moment about love and losing love and the pain of love is the gift I would give humanity is, if you love someone, don't waste a moment.
Thank you.
If you love someone, don't waste a moment. And if someone's your soulmate, don't waste a moment.
Thank you. Beautiful.
That'd be the gift. Don't waste a moment, because I know we're eternal beings. I know this. If you've got someone you love, I know there's an eternal connection. But the joyous physical union you share on whatever relationship, be it soulmate, best friend, wife, mum, is fleeting. And the gift, and for me, the gift of touch, the gift of smelling someone you love, a newborn baby, or the gift of smelling your loved one, or your mum, or the touch of their hair, or the smell of them, the sound of their voice. That frequencies we share are very small. I get it, but they're still priceless. They're still a gift. And I would
Yes.
say to anyone, enjoy that gift.
Thank you, Bex. And as we are at the end
Oh,
of the interview, any final thoughts?
no, I again, it just come back to what I was talking about is that there was a great medium. I'm going to quote him, John Edwards. He always says, you don't need a medium because they're close to us. And what I would say to anyone is, the final thought is, remember, when I'm working, or any medium is working, they're going, oh, I'm talking to your mum, I'm talking to your dad. No, they're not. I can't talk to spirit. They can't talk to me. They've not got a voice box. So when someone says to me, Bex, I feel my mum like you get them, but my mum won't talk to me the way she talks to you. I go, well, your mum doesn't talk to me either. So what I would share is, all you've got to do is sit in the quiet. The first part of any reunion is quieting down this chattering conscious mind. That's the first thing. But I would say everyone can do this. Everyone can feel their loved ones. We're just told and programmed that we can't.
Yes.
That was a bit deep, wasn't it? That's the way to finish.
Once again, it's been a real pleasure
Oh, it's been
talking
a
to
joy.
you, and all the best
Thank
in
you, my friend.
20 and 2025.
Where's this year gone?
Yes, indeed.
Gone so quick. And I've got to tell you, your English is so good. If you could understand me, I am so impressed.
Yes. Here in
And
Canada, we encounter all kind of people from all over the world. So my ear gets accustomed. And I interviewed a lot of people from UK. So
but thank you for having me on. It's been an absolute joy.
thank you. Same
Thank you.
here. All the
Yeah.
best.
Thank you so much.
And to my viewers, thank you for watching. Catch up on all the episodes. And see you soon. Until next time, love and gratitude.